We are very excited to share new features from XL 2.18 with you today. Let's start with a quick overview of all the new features before stepping through each one in more detail. Here's a roadmap for this video in case you want to jump right into a specific topic. We've organized features into 5 themes: App Bar, Widgets, Data Modification, XL Enterprise, and Integration Tools. Let's start with the App Bar. One of the features we're most excited about is that the App Bar is now enterprise aware with the addition of the Enterprise Hierarchy control. This means you can view almost every built-in report from the perspective of your entire enterprise, any site, any area, or any individual work center. Here's an example of the built-in OEE report being viewed for Chicago. To make it easy to see what you're looking at, we added the name of your currently selected enterprise node to report titles. The main menu is now called Reports, and we moved it to the left of the Enterprise Hierarchy control, so the app bar matches the order in the page title. We also added a column in the Reports menu for shared dashboards, so you and your team have instant access to any custom reports you create and share using the dashboard feature. Next, let's look at enhancements we've made to the Andon, Table, KPI Group, and Event List widgets. The Andon widget has 2 new live controls. The Filter Live control enables you to show or hide work centers based on metric and dimension values. For example, you can hide work centers that are not scheduled for production by creating a filter that excludes work centers with an impact value of not scheduled. The Dimension Live control enables you to choose which dimensions are shown in the Andon footer. That makes it easy for you to select the most relevant information for your environment while retaining the Andon's small visual footprint. For example, you may want to show the job and team in the Andon footer. The Table and KPI Group widgets have a new feature called Spark Dimensions, which transform boring old text into exciting visuals, such as bar charts, chronograms, and column charts. These are great for creating compact, scannable reports. For example, you can create a table column that provides a visual representation of how much time was spent running, down, in changeovers, and in breaks. We've also enhanced dimension-based tooltips by including metric values, and we've improved how the tooltips look. These new tooltips work great for Spark Dimensions, because if you see something that sparks your interest, the tooltip puts the associated metric values right at your fingertips. Let's take a quick look at the Event List widget, which is now enterprise aware. This means you can include multiple work centers in one event list. There are several ways to take advantage of this feature. For example, you can use the event list to quickly scan through information by work center. If you see something of interest, you can learn more from the 3 integrated mini reports. Another great use for the enterprise aware event list is searching comments across multiple work centers. XL 2.18 also includes 2 new data modification features. XL already detects short down events before changeovers and can automatically convert them to be part of the changeover. With 2.18, we've expanded this capability to cover more production states. A common scenario is an operator scanning a changeover or planned maintenance barcode after the line has already stopped. Automated down event conversion will make sure you won't have a short down event that isn't indicative of what was really happening on the line. But what if your operator completely forgets to scan a changeover or planned stop? With the new Change Production State feature, you can go back in time and change the production state and reason for any non-run event. For example, if you have a long down event that really was a changeover, you can easily go back and correct that in your data. We've also added several features for those of you who use XL Enterprise to send automatic email reports. One new feature is more reporting periods. You can now choose to subscribe to email reports for specific shifts, as well as for daily, weekly, and/or monthly reporting periods. Another new feature is showing up to 25 rows for availability events, availability reasons, and reject reasons. This is helpful if you want a greater depth of information in your email reports. Email subject lines are also more detailed. The subject line now contains the title of the report, the enterprise node to which it applies, and the span of time it covers, making it easy to search or scan through your emailed reports. We've also taken some important steps toward managed software updates for Excel devices. Here's a preview of what you'll see in Excel Enterprise when this feature is released later this year. In the future, you'll be able to use Excel Enterprise to decide when and where to apply software updates. Next, we'll look at some new features that are especially useful for integrating Excel with other systems. Excel devices now respond to a simplified JSON text format for job, part, and team QR codes. This new format only uses printable characters and does not require checksums. This feature is especially useful for organizations that like to generate QR codes directly from their ERP or MES systems. The new real-time API endpoint enables you to query Excel devices for current shift, part, and hour metrics with response times as fast as 20 milliseconds. This feature is excellent for software integration tools that benefit from real-time access to production data. We also have a new feature to show you from VetiGroup, who specialize in and offer a broad range of add-on integration tools for Excel. VetiGroup has enhanced their Excel bolt-on HMI software with a new ERP job list. Now, operators can select from a dynamic list of jobs fetched directly from your ERP system. This digital transformation tool seamlessly connects your ERP to Excel and eliminates manual management of jobs and parts. Now that we've seen a preview of the new features, let's take a deeper dive into each one. We'll start with the updated app bar. The block on the far left where it says Vorne XL is a link to whatever page and view you have set as the default for this device. Next is the Reports menu, which provides access to built-in reports, shared dashboards, and help content. We'll come back to this menu later. Finally, there's the Enterprise Hierarchy control, which allows you to select any enterprise node as the data source for your reports. Having the Enterprise Hierarchy control in the app bar is entirely new for Excel 2.18, and when used in tandem with the updated Reports menu, exploring data is easier than ever before. Note the bold text at the very bottom, which shows you to which device you are connected. Let's get started exploring the app bar by viewing OEE for the entire enterprise. First, we'll open the Reports menu and select OEE. The page title shows us we are viewing OEE for the press line, but we want to see OEE for the entire enterprise. So, we'll open up the Enterprise Hierarchy control and select the topmost node, which in this case is Acme. Now, every work center of the organization will be included in our reports, and the OEE page will automatically update to show data for the entire enterprise. Another new feature in the Analyze pages for 2.18 is a table right below the KPI widgets. This table contains the same KPI metrics, but for nodes that are one level lower than what you select with the Enterprise Hierarchy control. For example, if you select the Enterprise in the app bar, as we have, this table will show you KPIs for each site. If you were to select a site, the table would show you KPIs for each area. You can easily change the level you see in this table with the Dimension Live control. For example, instead of sites, we'll view individual work centers. While knowing your OEE score is great, knowing how it has changed over time is even more important. We'll scroll down to view the OEE over time chart, which also has integrated trend lines. Notice that as we scroll down the page, the app bar stays at the top of the browser window. This is because the app bar is sticky in 2.18, making it easier to flip between reports and different nodes of your enterprise hierarchy. Just like we did with the table, we can use the Dimension Live control to switch between viewing work centers, areas, sites, or in this case, our enterprise. The OEE over time chart tells us that our OEE for our enterprise is trending down for the week. We can also use the time units control to change the granularity of time on the x-axis. For example, we'll change from day to shift so we can expose even more data points and, in this case, see if there have been any shifts that have performed particularly poorly. Next, we'll explore OEE and its underlying factors of availability, performance, and quality using hierarchical tables. we can immediately see another 218 feature. Excel now automatically updates hierarchical tables based on the node you select with the Enterprise Hierarchy control. This makes it easy to organically explore your data and drill down to what's most relevant to you. We'll collapse until we see our hierarchy through the Work Center level, and then click on the OEE column title to sort our data from lowest to highest OEE scores within the hierarchy. We can see a pattern. Not surprisingly, availability is consistently the lowest OEE factor across work centers. This is worth some further investigation, so next we'll click on the Reports menu and jump over to the 6 Big Losses report. The 6 Big Losses provide an additional and actionable level of detail that goes beyond OEE. Each of the 3 OEE factors is split into 2 of the 6 big losses. For example, availability loss is split into down events and planned stops. Why is this important? Because while both are OEE availability losses, the countermeasures to mitigate them are very different. In a similar way, OEE performance loss is split into slow cycles and small stops. And finally, OEE quality loss is divided into time lost manufacturing defective parts during startup versus during steady-state production. While we are looking at the KPI widgets, we can see another 218 improvement. The sparkline and trend metric are now enterprise aware. We can immediately see from the 6 Big Losses report that downtime is by far our biggest source of lost time, and it's getting worse. Based on this observation, we'll dive into the downtime report for further details. The downtime Pareto chart has always been a favorite for Excel users, and now it too is enterprise aware. We see something interesting. Our Chicago plant has a lot of downtime, and much of it is missing reason, so we will focus on that. We'll use the Enterprise Hierarchy control to focus on just Chicago. Next, we'll use the Dimension Live control to view our Pareto chart data broken down by work center. With this chart and the hierarchical tables below, we'll dive deep into what is causing so much downtime in Chicago. The essential takeaway with these examples is that it is both easy and intuitive to explore your data. With Excel 218, you can work your way from your entire enterprise all the way down to individual events at individual work centers. You literally have all the data at your fingertips. Next, we'll open up the Reports menu to take advantage of the new and easy direct access to shared dashboards. Shared dashboards are listed in name order, so if you would like a specific dashboard to be at the top of the list, simply start its name with a number. If you have more shared dashboards than will fit in one column, click More at the bottom of the list and you will be able to see and select from up to 50 shared dashboards. If you're not already taking advantage of dashboards to create your own custom reports, check out our dashboard guide. Dashboards are powerful and ideal for showing you exactly the data you want to see, in exactly the way you want to see it. We've made improvements to the Andon, Table, KPI Group, and Eventless widgets to provide you with even more ways to create highly actionable reports. The first section of our dashboard shows Andons for our enterprise. The newly added Andon filter control helps you focus on what's most important to you. For example, let's modify this dashboard to show us who we should congratulate for being on track to win the shift. Click the filter control followed by Add Expression. We'll use the search tool to find the efficiency metric. Then we'll select the operator as greater than or equal to. To finish, we will type a value of 100 and click Apply. Now we know who to congratulate and encourage toward continued good results. The newly added Dimension control makes it easy for you to add information to the Andon footer that is particularly relevant or helpful for your application. Simply click the Dimension control, choose Add Dimension, and select what you would like to see. For example, it may be helpful to display the site when viewing work centers across your entire enterprise. Spark dimensions are highly visual, quickly scannable, compact elements for showing dimension data, and they can be added to Table and KPI Group widgets. For a quick and easy way to compare how much time was spent running, down, in changeovers, and in breaks across work centers, we'll add a Spark dimension. Here we have a table showing OEE data for multiple work centers, but we can easily improve it. by clicking the column control, selecting Add Column, and then Dimension. For the Dimension field, we'll choose Impact, which encompasses 4 mutually exclusive states that provide us with a top-level perspective of manufacturing. We'll talk more about the impact dimension later in the context of data modification. The visualization is bar, which is the best choice when comparing spark dimensions across rows in a table. The metric is duration, which shows us how much time we spent in each impact state. The order is by dimension, which makes it easy to compare impact states across rows. Click Apply to see our spark dimension in action. It's clear that Filling 2 had a good shift with a lot more runtime than any other work centers. On the other hand, Bottling 2 had a notable amount of downtime, so we will want to investigate that further. Remember, it's easy to get more detail on each dimension value by hovering over the spark dimension visualization. Another great example of using spark dimensions in tables is adding a column that shows us if we have startup quality problems with any of our work centers. By startup, we mean when we start a new part run or after we complete a changeover. We will add this column to a Quality by Work Center table. Again, click the column control, Add Column, and Dimension. We want to see startup versus steady state, so we will select the production phase dimension. Production phase has only 3 values: changeover, startup, and steady state. We'll leave the visualization as bar, choose reject count as the metric, and leave the rest of the values the same. It's now very easy to see that bottling line 1 does have a startup quality problem. Moreover, so does labeling 1. We'll want to dive deep into why those 2 lines in particular have startup quality issues. For our next example, we will explore whether we have a first hour quality problem by adding a % reject by hour column to our table. We'll choose hour as our dimension. In Excel, hour is based on shift hour, which is great for reports like this as it makes it easier and more meaningful to compare hours across shifts or work centers. We'll choose column for our visualization so we can simply glance across the hours to see if there are any notable height differences. Choosing % reject as our metric ensures we are looking at normalized data. In other words, it is the proportion of rejects we want to compare, not the absolute number. Otherwise, the data would be affected by breaks and other periods of time that are not scheduled for production. We will keep the order as by dimension, so the hours are shown in a consistent order. We know all of our shifts are 8 hours, so we will optimize the use of horizontal space by choosing 8 for max elements. From our new dimension, we can see we do have a first hour problem on bottling 1, but we have a more consistent late shift problem in almost all of our lines. We will add this to our list of items we'd like to investigate further. Finally, we'd like to show you an example of what a spark dimension can add to a KPI group. Here's a basic KPI group showing OEE factors aggregated across the 4 work centers in Chicago. It's a nice summary, but if we want to detect patterns, such as whether or not we're slow to start production for the day, this aggregated data only shows a small part of the story. We'll add a mini chronogram that visually shows us what happened across the ship. Note that chronogram is only an option in the KPI group widget. Click the row control, add row, and then dimension. We'll select reason as the dimension to be visualized. We'll explain why in a moment. When we select chronogram as our visualization, the metric is always dimension and the order is always by time. Therefore, those values are shown but disabled. Here's our finished KPI group, and we immediately see a really nice feature, which is that Excel automatically adds a row for each work center. Another really useful feature is that the tooltip shows us a play-by-play of the entire ship. That is why we chose reason as the dimension. It gives us an extra dash of descriptive detail. Next, we'll look at what's new with the event list widget. The event list creates a vertical timeline of events with optional heat map colors based on the metric you choose. Once again, a great feature for scannable reports. Once you see something you want to explore, it is easy to jump into the details with instant access to embedded metric, comment, and quality reports. With XL 218, the event list widget is fully enterprise aware. We'll start with an event list that shows us an hour-by-hour view of our line. The heat map colors instantly show us that we had one particularly bad hour. And there's also an indicator of a comment associated with that hour. The comment explains that there was a site-wide power outage. We would like to see how this impacted our other lines, so we will use the Enterprise Hierarchy control to expand to a view of the entire site. We'll use the Event Body control to open up the comments for all events. It's clear that our entire site was impacted by this outage, and we can thank our supervisors for adding comments to give us this additional context. Now that the event list is enterprise aware, we can also use it to search comments across multiple work centers. For example, we can search for power, and the search term is helpfully highlighted in bold blue. Next, we'll look at two new and very useful data modification features. You'll need to be logged into the device as a supervisor or administrator to access these features. Keep in mind that configuration changes are made to each XL device individually, so it's important to verify that you are connected to the correct device. You can achieve this by glancing at the Login dropdown or at the bold Work Center name at the bottom of the Enterprise Hierarchy control. The first data modification feature we will look at is Automated Down Event Conversion. This feature has been expanded in XL 2.18. It provides a proactive and automated approach to improving data quality by analyzing short down events that occur before non-run events. For example, here we see a brief down event before planned maintenance and another before a meeting. These tiny down events often happen when a planned stop starts earlier than scheduled, or if the operator is delayed in scanning the start of the event. Let's go ahead and enable this feature. Log in as an administrator, open the Settings menu and click Other Dimensions. Remember, dimensions refer to a qualitative attribute of a period of time, such as a changeover or meeting. Check the box next to each production state you'd like this feature to apply to, and set your desired down event threshold. This feature is only activated if the down event is less than or equal to the configured threshold. There is no reason assigned to it, and no counts or cycles are detected during the event. The second data modification feature enables you to change production states in historical data, which is perfect in case your operator completely forgets to scan a changeover or a planned stop. Before you decide to change production states, it's important to understand how they affect your metrics. XL has 4 impact states that determine how production states influence metrics. For example, run, unplanned stop, and planned stop all affect your OEE score, whereas not scheduled time does not. Once you are logged in as a supervisor or administrator, click on the Settings gear and select Modify Data under the Management column. Select the new Change Production State tab. In this example, we will modify a down event that wasn't really a down event. It was a meeting, and there was no intention of running production at that time, so it shouldn't count against OEE. Click the Form Edit icon for the down event to pop up a dialog where you can change the production state and reason. When you select the drop-down for the production state, a list of all non-run production states will appear. We'll select Meeting. Now that the production state has changed, the reason options will update accordingly. In this case, we'll select the Safety Meeting. We can see the updated values in the table, but they won't be saved until we click the Change Production State button. Here is the before and after for availability loss, which goes down, schedule loss, which goes up, and OEE, which also goes up. As you can see, the underlying metrics are automatically adjusted. For those of you using XL Enterprise, we have a number of email report enhancements to show you, plus a sneak peek at a feature we have in development for later this year. The simplest way to access XL Enterprise is to navigate to xl.vorne.com and log in. If you are not sure whether your company is using XL Enterprise, you can log into the XL device as administrator, select the Settings menu, and choose XL Enterprise. If the device is linked to XL Enterprise, you'll see the name of your organization in blue. The first new feature we are going to show you is including more rows of data for availability events, availability reasons, and reject reasons. In XL Enterprise, admins create report templates to which any users can subscribe. If you are an admin, click the gear icon to open the Management console and select Email Report Templates. Click Reports, New Report to create a brand new email report template. We'll name it Defect Summary. Click Add Widget and select Table. Next, click the Dimension Options control to see all of our table choices. We will select the Reject Reasons table. At the bottom of the dialog, you can see the new Max Rows dropdown. Before 218, tables were limited to the top 5 reject reasons, along with their counts. Now you can choose to include up to 25 reasons in a single table. Click Apply and don't forget to save the template before you navigate away. Once a report is defined, it is easy to subscribe to it. Any Excel Enterprise user can subscribe to reports. To do so, open the main menu and select Email Report Subscriptions. For each subscription, you can choose the report template, what work centers to include, and now with Excel 218, you can select one or more reporting periods. Reporting periods enable you to choose whether to receive reports on a shift, daily, weekly, and/or monthly basis. You can select multiple reporting periods for the same report. For example, we'll subscribe to the defect summary report we just created for the entire enterprise, and we will choose to receive both daily and weekly summary reports. The weekly report has the exact same format as the daily report. It just aggregates data for the longer time period. When you receive your email report, you will see the third new feature, more information in the subject line, which makes it easier to scan through Excel Enterprise emails within your inbox. The subject line now contains all 3 items you selected when you subscribed: the report title, the enterprise node to which it applies, and the span of time it covers. Our last Excel Enterprise feature is a sneak peek at something we have in development: centralized management of software updates. With this upcoming feature, you can schedule an update to as many Excel devices as you would like, all at one time. No more logging into each device individually, and you can strategically choose times when your line is not scheduled for production. Once scheduled, you can keep an eye on updates with summary tables that show pending and completed updates. Our final topic is integration tools, features that are geared towards integrating Excel with other systems and applications. First, we've added a simplified barcode protocol that is particularly helpful for users who generate Excel-readable barcodes from their ERP or MES systems. There are 2 key simplifications to the protocol. The first is that the new format only uses printable characters. The second is that a checksum is no longer required. The text format is JSON, which is a frequently used format for data interchange. There are 6 fields, as you can see in this example. The first 4 are always the same. The 5th determines the type of barcode. For ERP and MES integration, starting a part run is the most common. And the 6th field provides the actual data, the payload. Our second integration feature is the new API endpoint for real-time data. The real-time data endpoint can be queried up to 10 times per second for live hourly, shift, and part run data. The data is cached and always ready, so Excel doesn't have to reference its internal database. In fact, in our own tests, we saw data responses coming back as fast as 20 milliseconds. Talk about skipping the line. Our last integration feature is courtesy of our partner Veti Group. Veti has been working closely with Vorne for over 20 years, developing add-on tools for Excel. Veti specializes in connecting Excel with your other systems, and you can see the broad range of Excel bolt-on tools on their website. Their newest tool is the Excel Bolt-on HMI, which is software that enables operators to use a tablet to select down reasons, submit reject quantities, dynamically change team parameters, start breaks, and more. With 218, the Excel Bolt-on HMI enables operators to select and start jobs from a dynamic list that is updated automatically from your ERP or MES. We hope you've enjoyed learning about all the new functionality we've added in Excel 218. If you have any questions, please reach out to our support team. We are happy to help.